and welcome to Business 360. I'm Ritu Singh and here are the headlines that we're tracking this evening. Stock markets consolidate after hitting record highs yesterday. 90% of mid-cap and small-cap stocks tumble as the rally comes to a grinding halt. Mid-cap index posts the biggest single-day fall in 2023.
डीजल और पेट्रोल को कम करने का अब मेरे को एक ही लगता है कि बस 10% एडिशनल पोल्यूशन टैक्स लगाए बिना जल्दी कुछ ये ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन की स्पीड नहीं बढ़ेगी.
Speaking at a Siam conference, Road Minister Nitin Gadkari warns that he may seek an additional GST on diesel engines to push auto companies to speed up phasing out these engines. Follows this up with a tweet saying no such proposal is currently under active consideration by the government.
I don't think Minister was serious really about it, but it was more of a provocation.
I think it's a directional statement by the Honorable Minister, and you could sense it when he was saying that.
Automakers tell CNBC-TV18 any change in taxation will not be good for the industry. Seek incentives on the use of alternate fuel vehicles rather than high taxation. Data from EPFO and NPS shows India created 5.2 crore payrolls in the last 4 years. SBI research says 47% of these are new subscribers, indicating a faster rate of formalization of jobs. The India head of IBM, Sandeep Patel, calls for regulations to ensure artificial intelligence is good for society at large and businesses. Says the industry has started an active conversation with the government on framing the rules to govern AI. The Supreme Court refers pleas challenging the sedition law to a larger bench of at least 5 judges, rejects the government's request to defer the hearing due to the introduction of a new bill in Parliament. More than 2,800 people killed in an earthquake that hit Morocco last week. Rescue operations continue even as hopes of finding survivors fade. UNICEF says about 1 lakh kids have been affected in the tragedy. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un arrives in Russia in an armored train for a summit with President Vladimir Putin. This is Kim Jong-un's first foreign trip since the COVID pandemic. And Apple is set to launch new products tonight. The rumor mill is rife with speculation about a potential iPhone 15 and a new watch. Well, a day after scaling new peaks, bulls digested the gains on Dalal Street. The sensex and nifty ended marginally in the red, but mid-caps reported a sharp sell-off. In fact, 90% of mid-cap and small-cap stocks declined in trade today. The fall in the mid-cap index was the biggest single-day drop in 2023 so far. Small-cap index also reported a 4% fall, the worst decline this year so far. Anuj Singhal is here with more on the valuations, especially for mid-cap and small-cap companies.
Where is the comfort right now? And obviously the comfort is with the large caps, not really with the mid caps. Look, the Nifty is expensive, but not in bubble zone by any stretch of imagination. Nifty is 20.3 times 1-year forward earnings, and 10-year average has been about 18 times. It's the mid cap which is the problem. 25.2 times. By the way, that also is not bubble territory, which Prashant has been highlighting, and I'll go to him as well. The 10-year average is 20.1 times. Small cap at 20 times versus 16.6 times, which is the 10-year average. And the Nifty Bank is actually undervalued right now, 14.2 times versus 16 times. Talking about the Nifty, where have the recent peaks been? And I'm talking about just the recent peaks, the last 8 or 10 years. In 2015, it was 23 times. In 2019, it was 24.5 times. And in 2021, it is 23 times. Considering we are at 20 times right now, another 3 notches could mean another 1,500 to 2,000 points in the Nifty minimum. I'm not saying we go there, but not quite there in terms of bubble territory. Now, there's some interesting things that I'm looking at. Some sectors which are trading at a premium valuation. And no surprise for guessing, a lot of them are mid-cap names. Infrastructure, chemicals, real estate, and PSU banks. They're all trading at a premium compared to their own valuations. And sectors trading at discount, there's telecom, there's media, there's private banks, which is interesting, and there's metals. But you know what? There's one more metric which I look at, the number of stocks hitting new highs and new lows. That number has still not reached alarming proportion, 244 new highs and 15 new lows. And finally, some stocks where there's valuation comfort versus some stocks where there's discomfort. First to the stocks where there's some comfort, and you'll see a lot of pharma names there, Apollo Hospitals, Dr. Reddy's, and some PSU names despite the rally, BPCL, ONGC, and some commodity names like Coal India and UPL, and stocks which are now trading above their median valuations or recent average multiples. A lot of IT names after the recent rally, HCL Tech in particular, Infosys, Titan, which is trading at 20% premium, and Reliance, largely because, earlier Reliance was pure oil and gas play. Now it's a lot of new age play. That's why as well.
Anuj, thanks very much for taking us through that. So how should you play the market at these levels? Here are some market experts.
I feel where the market is heading or what my targets were. I see that there is still more upside going ahead. As I said, there's a lot of panic, there's a lot of talk of bubble, and there's a lot of talk of all that. I don't think we are anywhere near bubble territory. I think that there is more upside. And what I say is that you've seen 11% and you're like getting so this thing that we can have another 8, 10, 9, 10%, And a lot of people say that, oh, you want to sell out this segment, we should get out, blah, blah, blah. You never know. You could be missing a more interesting part in the market.
I think this move in mid-small caps up nearly 35 to 40% since last 6 months, when globally Fed is tightening, balance sheet is contracting, would be a bit worrisome. So again, that's something we've been doing since, I would say, last 2-3 months. Look at our mid-cap portfolio, some of these mid-cap names, whether it's hospitals, real estate, or other sectors. Look, we've owned them for 5-7 years, but look, valuations look kind of fairly full here. So what we're doing is top slicing probably 10-15% and moving that to large caps.
All right, our top story this evening then. In a bid to phase out diesel vehicles, Transport Minister Nitin Gadkari has warned automakers that he will seek additional GST on diesel engines. Speaking at the Siam convention, the minister said he will be meeting the finance minister later today and will place a request to impose additional 10% GST on diesel-powered vehicles. The minister also said the industry needs to reduce its production of diesel vehicles, and if not, the government will be forced to hike taxes.
G20 में हमने ग्लोबल अलायंस में बायोफ्यूल ग्लोबल अलायंस का जो हमने करार उसकी स्वाक्षरी की है वो अपने आप में एक हिस्टोरिकल है और पोल्यूशन ये बहुत गंभीर समस्या है और पोल्यूशन के कारण हमारे स्वास्थ्य के ऊपर भी बहुत विपरीत परिणाम हो रहा है। आज शाम को 5:30 बजे वित्त मंत्री मेरे घर पर एक मीटिंग के लिए आने वाली है और मैं उनको रिक्वेस्ट करने वाला हूं कि आने वाले समय में डीजल से जो भी इंजन चलाते हैं उसके ऊपर एडिशनल 10% जीएसटी लगाओ ताकि जल्दी इसका ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन होगा, नहीं तो लोग जल्दी सुनने के मूड में नहीं है। आप डीजल का प्रोडक्शन कम करिए और इसलिए मैं नहीं तो कम नहीं होगा तो टैक्स बढ़ाना पड़ेगा। तो मैं आपसे अनुरोध करूंगा कि ये एक अच्छा साइन है। डीजल बहुत ही हजार्डस फ्यूल है, हम बहुत बड़े प्रमाण पे इंपोर्ट भी करते हैं, तो डीजल को बाय कैसा भी करके आप बाय करिए। मैं आपको ये बहुत नम्रतापूर्वक रिक्वेस्ट से करूंगा, नहीं तो BS6 जैसा डीजल का भी हाल ऐसा ही होगा कि बस आप करते रहिए, हम इतना टैक्स बढ़ा देंगे कि आपको बेचना मुश्किल हो जाएगा। तो ये डीजल व्हीकल को आप ही सुमोटो इनिशिएटिव लेकर आप कर भी रहे हैं, इसीलिए 18% पे आया है। तो धीरे धीरे ये हमारे लिए बहुत अच्छा प्रोग्राम होगा।
Well, you heard the union minister there, Nitin Gadkari, requesting auto manufacturers to reduce their production of diesel vehicles. However, just hours after making that statement you heard, the minister tweeted saying, and I quote him, "There is an urgent need to clarify media reports suggesting an additional 10% GST on the sale of diesel vehicles. It is essential to clarify that there is no such proposal currently under active consideration by the government." End of quote. Moreover, the auto industry believes any additional taxation is going to hurt the industry.
It was more of a push towards sustainability. So he was making out a case that the industry should do more work on sustainability. They should prefer more and more alternate fuels which are more sustainable.
But any additional taxation, how will that impact the auto industry, sir?
I think auto industry is already very, very heavily taxed. So definitely it will not be good for the auto industry if there is any additional tax.
I think what the minister said was more of a provocation, more of a message that I think the efforts have to be enhanced in this direction, and the country needs that. So I don't think, I don't think minister was serious really about it, but it was more of a provocation.
Gadkari ji always is a man of actions, right? We know that. So I think his intention is clearly about moving towards green mobility. And I think we as a brand, if you look at it, BMW, we have a very clear agenda worldwide that we want to make BMW sustainable. So absolutely support the move towards green mobility. How we get there, I mean, that can always be debated.
30% diesel, how much do you think you would be able to phase out or reduce over the next 5 years or so?
So we'll leave it to the customers. I think that's what our stance is always, that we will produce what customers want. Because I think every customer has different needs and we need to respect that.
I think it's a directional statement by the Honorable Minister, and you could sense it when he was saying that. And the urgent need to change to a more carbon neutral ecosystem. We fully support it. That's our brand stands for it. In fact, for Mercedes-Benz, we have a clear target of 2039 to be carbon neutral. We are leading in the forefront. So we welcome any step towards carbon neutrality.
Okay, on that note, we have to take a short break, but don't go anywhere, because up next, the India head of IBM, Sandeep Patel, has called for regulations to ensure artificial intelligence is for the larger good of society and businesses. That interview and more when we return. Welcome back. You're watching Business 360. Now, a report by SBI Research shows that India has created 5.2 crore payrolls in the last 4 years. The report cited data from EPFO and NPS, adding 47% of these are new subscribers, indicating a faster rate of formalization of jobs. Shivani Bazaz has been poring over that report and joins us with the highlights.
Well, data from EPFO and NPS shows that India created 5.2 crore payroll in the last 4 years. In this huge number, 47% were first-time registrations. This is according to an analysis done by SBI Research. The research report suggests that net new EPF subscriber addition during FY20 to FY23 was 4.86 crore. Important to note that EPFO data largely indicates formalization of jobs and not necessarily new job creation. On the other hand, NPS data indicates that 8.24 lakh new subscribers were added in FY23 alone, of which state government payroll stood at 4.64 lakh, followed by non-government payroll of 2.30 lakh and central government payroll of 1.29 lakh. In the last 4 years, around 31 lakh new subscribers joined the National Pension Scheme or the NPS. Apart from the whopping 47% first-time registrations, the second-time registrations or the exited members who rejoined or resubscribed EPFO stood at 2.17 crore in the last 4-year period ended FY23. Additionally, the share of women payroll was around 27%.
Shivani, thanks very much for bringing us that report. Now moving on, the India head of IBM, Sandeep Patel, has called for regulations to ensure artificial intelligence is good for society at large and businesses as well. Speaking to my colleague Shilpa Rani Beta, he said that the industry has started an active conversation with the government on framing the rules to govern AI. Take a look.
The Indian market has always been a very critical part of any technological evolution that IBM has done, and for a couple of different reasons. I think India, whether we are explicit about it or we talk about it explicitly or not, tends to be a forerunner in innovation. We are in India, where we are innovating in India, for India and for the world. And where the for the world piece comes in is what we do with our software labs, research labs, systems labs, that actually happens in India. The innovation happens in India with Indian talent, and then it serves the rest of the world as our products get sold and used by clients around the world.
And I think Watson X also, a lot of the development happened in India.
There was a big chunk of the development that actually happened. It's a global process, but a lot of our software and research labs in India were very much involved in both the design and development of the Watson X assets that we've developed.
You spoke about AI for good, and you said, it can be dangerous if it's not done in the right way, and that could be dangerous for you as a business as well. To ensure AI for good, you also spoke about the importance of policy. So I want to understand in India whether we're talking about norms, to enable AI for good. What's the importance of that at a policy level in India? Where are we at? Are you talking to the government in terms of setting up better regulation around this?
So short answer is yes, it's very important for policy and some of the norms to evolve to ensure that the technology is used for the good of the society at large and for businesses and enterprises appropriately. Some of the dialogue is starting. If you look at some of the elements that have come out of the G20, there is a very conscious recognition of the fact that ethical AI is important to drive not just for India but for the world, right? We have been very active in that dialogue. As a matter of fact, just yesterday we had a partner event and we talked about some of the principles that we have always lived with. So one of the principles we've lived with is that data and the insights are owned by the users of it. So actually the clients who bring that data and insights, they use it.
Right.
How that is used for insights and how we develop insights out of AI are transparent and explainable so that you know how some of the solutions have come out. And so these are the kinds of norms which will have to evolve, I think, consistently. And yes, we are in conversations with the government, both directly, but also through industry associations like NASSCOM and others.
Well, calls for regulating AI. Expect more of that conversation from tech leaders as the importance of AI only grows. On that note, it's a wrap on this edition of Business 360. Thanks for watching, but stay with CNBC TV18 for all your news and updates.